Want to go to Disneyland? Gotta make a reservation. It's part of our Disneyland lives now, and according to Bob Chapek, there's no end in sight. Disney loves the reservation system, so we might just have to get used to it. And even though Disney has increased capacity in the park, the reservation calendar is still often as bleak as it was last winter. And sometimes getting a reservation for the date you need can be a real challenge. Sometimes it feels impossible. Maybe you've seen a reservation calendar that looks like this, full of blocked out days and despair. And while it may seem hopeless sometimes, it doesn't have to be. You may have heard us say that if you're diligent enough, just about any day is gettable. Any day. And it can be done while also camping out on some of those other more important dates, the dates that you don't want to try to flex out of. Today, we're going to show you 4 very useful hacks that can help you get any reservation you like with impressive results. We're going to show you which days you should be camping out on and which days you don't need to camp on. We're going to show you what days and what times are the best to fish for a reservation. And we're going to show you how far in advance you need to start doing this. All backed up with extensive data mining. It's science, you guys. We got a friend of the show, makes it his business to capture what's happening on the Disneyland website and the app. And this helps us analyze things like ride wait times and reservation patterns. So the first question is, which dates should you be camping on? Which should you lock up? Which dates can you safely cancel if you need a slot for another reservation? Now, assuming that you are maxing out your reservation slots, there are a few dates that should be a priority for camping. The first is a natural, and that's any holiday or special event. Christmas Day, 4th of July, opening day of Fantasmic, for example, May 28th. Next, we can safely suggest capturing any specific weekend dates that you prefer, as they're the next most common dates to sell out quickly. By selling out, we mean reserve, fully booked up very quickly. And this is typical for most Believe and Dream Key holders. They chose those passes, the Dream and Believe, because they don't want to be blocked out on weekends like the Enchant and Magic keys are. And if you want to get even more refined, definitely camp on those weekend dates that are open for the Enchant key. This is an important tip. Enchants don't get a lot of weekend opportunities. So during those times when they can get a weekend, they are snatching those up quickly. You've been looking at this graph, I know, and you're seeing those long blue lines next to the top 4 line items. Those are the 4 most popular types of days. Those are the days that book the quickest. The legend below indicates the number of days before reservation date. This means how many days ahead of the actual date are they being booked up. For example, the top days, Saturdays, that are open to the Believe key and up shows roughly 60 days before reservation, 60 days ahead of time. For example, if there's a specific Saturday in June, you really need book it now, 60 days in advance on average. The calendar proves that out. Saturdays in June for the Believe and Dream key are gone as of this recording. Per the data, in extreme cases, dates are booked full up to 80 days in advance. That's just 10 days after they become available. So that's Saturdays and Sundays where Believe is not blocked out, with similar results where Enchant is also eligible to book. In fact, those dates are some of the most extreme cases. Meanwhile, the least volatile days, the days that stay available for the longest stretch of time, are weekdays, Monday through Thursday, where Believe is eligible. On average, about 30 days in advance. On today's calendar, as of this recording, Mondays and Tuesdays for Disneyland are booked up to the 9th for Monday and the week prior for a Tuesday. That's about 2 weeks, or half the time predicted by the graph. This could be explained, though, by Disney's recent apparent change in policy, where they're floating more weekdays to Magic keys and more weekends to single-day tickets. So, considering this, we recommend using maybe 4 or 5 of your reservation slots if you Believe or Dream for those key dates, leaving 1 or 2 for flexible, as-needed reservations where you can grab those less volatile weekday reservations. And if needed, you can fish for any dates you miss out on while camping out with the other 4. Fishing for dates is not as scary or complicated as you might think. I've done it dozens of times over the past few months, getting just about every date I've ever wanted to get. Now, I'm very diligent. I check every day, several times a day, until I get the date I need. But you don't have to be that diligent, and that's why we're here. We can narrow down for you which days are best to fish on, and even what time is the best time to fish, and how far in advance you should be thinking about doing it. And we're going to start with the day. And the best analogy I can make here is to day trading. Day trading works best when there is a lot of volatility around a given stock. The more action a stock has, the more the stock price will move up and down. When fishing for dates, your chances of catching a day opening up is improved on those days where guests are most often dropping dates. And there's a very clear trend here. Strangely, weekends. People cancel reservations most often on the weekends. Why that is, maybe up for debate. Perhaps that's the time that we have normally to check our reservation calendars, to do a little reservation maintenance. Now, keep in mind, this graph is not showing which days are being dropped. It's showing on which days people are making their drops, be that for a Monday or a Saturday. The weekends are the most common day for guests to drop any of their reservations. It shows that if you're trying to increase the likelihood of any date you're trying to pick up, it may be more likely that your date is dropped on a weekend, which takes us logically to our next hack. We know which day, but perhaps more importantly, what time. This is where we can get really specific. Is there an ideal time to check the calendar? Yes. Yes, there is. Early in the morning and late in the evening, just after you wake up and right before you go to bed. And this makes a lot of sense. It's less likely that we're going to be doing reservation maintenance in the middle of the day when we're busy working or taking care of kids, etc. It's more likely that reservations are managed as an agenda item, as in first thing in the morning, I'm going to drop my reservation for tomorrow, or I'm going to wait until the last minute to drop my reservation for tomorrow because I wasn't sure if I would be able to make it. It's the last thing that I want to do before I go to bed. Putting these last two together, if you're limited on how much time and energy you can put into fishing for reservations, your best bet is to check the calendars early in the morning or late in the evenings on Saturdays or Sundays. Okay, one more tip for you, and this one might be the most useful tip in terms of its success rate, but also the hardest tip to take advantage of in terms of planning. This graph illustrates the likelihood that a date you want will flip relative to the actual date you're looking for. The y-axis shows how many days out from your target date. The far left of the graph indicates, for example, 80 days from your target date, with the far right indicating 8 days out. Visually, this graph is showing us that the chances of your date becoming available increase as it gets closer to your target date. Reservations can be made up to 90 days in advance, so within the first 10 days, 80 days out, it is very unlikely for a date to become instantly booked up and then become open again. It may book up right away, but people are going to hold on to that date for a long time. But it may eventually open up, but it's not going to open up at 80 days. It's going to open up down the line a little bit. So this tells us there's no point in trying to fish for a booked out date super early. Save your breath. Better to wait until at least 45 days out. It's at this point, combined with the other tips mentioned already, and you've got a reasonably good chance of picking up your date with some effort. You won't see it right away, but if you're diligent and you keep working at it, you will get that date. If, though, you're able to wait just a little bit longer, if you can, your chances get even better about 2 weeks out, and then progressively more so each day you get closer to your target date. In general, the closer you get to your target date, the more likely it is to flip from booked to available. And this is naturally because most guests who are camping on reservations, as we recommend, like we're telling you, camp on 4 of those dates, those guests who are camping on reservation dates typically wait as long as possible before canceling, but therein lies the difficulty. Not everyone can wait, until the last minute to grab that reservation. Sometimes you need to make plans in advance. So while it's more likely to get the date you need if you wait, the more often you check, the more likely you are to get your date, be that at 45 days or 65 days or 5 days out, be that on a weekday or a weekend, be that morning or night. The more you check, the better you are. We're just trying to save you some time. These tips will definitely save you a lot of time and effort instead of randomly hitting the reservation calendar in the blind hope that your date might be there. And that's our tips for you guys. Let us know how they work for you. Fresh Baked, we'd love to hear your success stories. Until then, follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. And if you're looking to book a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, buy some tickets, do any kind of Disneyland business, Please consider also using our affiliate link for Getaway Today. We are partnering with them. Book your visits with Getaway Today. Get some amazing customer support. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh baked.